The views expressed on the following broadcast do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guest. Take 12 Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship. And now, here are your co-hosts, Stephanie H., Bruce H., and the Monty Man.
Wham! Well, welcome aboard, everyone. Stephanie's here. Bruce is here. Hi, guys.
Hi,
Hey.
Monty.
Hey, before we do anything else, it's Marsha's birthday. So, here we go.
Happy birthday, happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, happy birthday to Marsha.
Yay!
Oh, happy birthday, happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday to Marsha.
All right, enough of that. All right, so happy birthday to my wonderful wife, Marsha. She's our PR person here at Take 12 Radio and also the lead administrative secretary for the county commissioner's office at Lynn County. So happy birthday, my dear wife. You know, it's interesting. I think
Can
God...
I say happy birthday to
Yeah, yes, you can.
to my good friend Marsha?
Well, thank you, Bruce.
I
think-
like her better than you. She knows what it is to be sensitive.
Oh, brother.
Happy birthday, Marsha.
Thank you, Stephanie. Bruce. I think God got it right when he saw that we needed a helpmate, because I certainly do lean on my wife, probably
Yeah.
more than she asked for.
Yeah, that's. I wish people could get that into marriage, and
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons it takes so long to grow together is because, that has to develop.
Yeah, yeah,
And be a part of. That's becoming one.
right.
And I'm telling you, I hate to say it in this way, but what I miss is all that my wife kept care of for me.
Right.
I realized just how much I leaned on her.
Yeah. Well, you become a team, and it's an amazing thing. It really
Yeah.
is. With all of its ups and downs and twists and turns, the journey is absolutely amazing. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Marcia, for whatever reason walking into my life. And we were joking about it the other day. I said, "Did you ever think that you'd marry a ex-con drug addict kind of?" She goes, "Not really, no."
My mother didn't have this planned out.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. This week, we are launching forth. Every week, we're going to do a different step. And this week, it's step 1. And some 12-step support meetings do a step a month thing, which is fine. We're going to do one a week. With the exceptions of maybe 8 and 9, we may cover those both together. And at the end of every show, we're going to feature a song by my friend Conley White, actually better known as Ray, from his CD "Learning to Live Again." Just Ray. The guy is he's just he loves God so much, and he's just a tremendous author. This is his new CD, so we're going to feature a song at the end of every week, and tell you how you can get his CD. By the way, in fact, I'm just going to tell you can get it right now. Go to recoveryrecords.net. Recoveryrecords.net. You can pick up his CD. But I will tell you that we have. Let me see here. Do we? Oh, no, I'm going to tell you that in a minute. All right. So before we get into step 1 and all that kind of thing, we've been experiencing some icy weather. And some of us have almost fallen down on our little red cabooses. It's been dangerous out there.
Yes.
And I know some of you on the East Coast and some of you in the Midwest, in different areas where it snows a lot, you're laughing at us.
Uh-huh.
But we get snow once in a while, but we don't get this weird ice thing. Have you had any problems, Stephanie? I mean, getting out and about?
Yeah. The parking lots are like glass in some spots.
Yeah.
And it's been I've been just going really slow.
Right.
Yeah.
Bruce, how about you? Did you almost fall?
Oh, yeah. I had a friend that come and picked me up to take me to a study last night.
Right.
And actually had to hold my hand and guide me down to the car and hold my hand and guide me back up to the porch. I mean, it was,
Wow.
I was just like glass, like you say.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that we have difficulty with this stuff is because we're not really prepared for it, because we're not used to it.
Right.
You know.
Well, I don't walk too well.
No, I don't either. You have a harder time than I do, and I don't walk too well. But isn't it interesting, because our recovery is like that? You know, we don't prepare too well because we're not used to living this new life, and so things kind of come at us from, different directions, and we don't know what to do with it unless we have some help. You know, Bruce, you had some help getting into your car. You know, Marcia helped me get out of the car. You know, we need some guidance. We need some direction because things surprise us. And yet we are told biblically not to be caught off guard. So there's certain things we need to do to make sure that we are prepared for the unexpected. You know, and that's one of the benefits of applying and implementing these 12 steps. And we're going to be looking at step 1 this week, which is admitting that we were powerless over fill in the blank. Okay, so, you know, in my case, alcohol. In your case, maybe something else. And that our lives have become unmanageable. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to be reading, Bruce is going to be reading something out of the 12 and 12. But before we do any of that, we've got a brand new group of people that we want to endorse and support. And then we're going to listen from one of our sponsors. And then Cecil has trivia. We've got a winner from last week's trivia, and we're going to give you the answers to that and see if you guys guessed any. So don't go away.
And I'm going to let Stephanie read.
You going to let her read? Okay, awesome.
Well, thank you.
So don't go away, my friends. Check this out.
When you hear that bell, you'll know it's time for Recovery 101. Recovery 101 with Bruce, Shelley, and Mark is a recovery broadcast based loosely on 12-step recovery programs. But it's less like a meeting and more like going to coffee afterwards. You know, the meeting after the meeting. Your host used to suffer from insanity, but now they absolutely, unapologetically enjoy it.
That's right.
For incredible fun and informative recovery radio, tune in to Recovery 101 at recovery101.net on your internet dial.
Men, women, and their families experience tremendous pain and suffering due to the struggles they face from substance abuse and its co-occurring mental health challenges. They need to find a safe place for peace and healing. Therapia Addiction Healing Center was born out of a deep desire to provide that safe and powerful healing environment. Therapia exists to help people recover from addictions by developing and maintaining healthy, meaningful relationships with God, self, and others. To speak with an addiction specialist, call 1-855-652-4325. That's 1-855-652-4325. Or visit our website at www.therapia.net. Therapia Addiction Healing Center, restoring lives one step at a time.
So, are you ready for Take 12 Recovery Radio's trivia? Continuation from last week, Monty Man?
Yes, Cecil.
Alrighty, because we have a winner from last week's show, and we're going to give out the answers for the trivia contest right now. And here, without further ado, is
Sebastian.
Take 12 Trivia.
Yes, indeedy. Take 12 Trivia is honoring the folks, Bruce, Shelley, and Mark at Recovery 101 this week. Probably one of my most favorite parts of the broadcast on Recovery 101 is the boozy news. News not fit for booze. You got to check those guys out, recovery101.net. All right, so we do have a winner. So last week, the trivia questions were, there were 3. What does Auld Lang Syne mean? When was the first New Year's celebration established? And who took over for Dick Clark for the New Year's celebration in Times Square? Now, the person that won got 2 questions right. The other people didn't get any of them right. They didn't come even close.
That's including us.
That's including you guys. So let me ask you guys, okay, do you know what Auld Lang Syne means?
Nope.
It's actually pronounced Auld Lang Syne. Do you know what it means? You don't know what it means? Okay. The title of the Scottish tune translates to Times Gone By. The winner said Days Gone By, so we gave it to her. Okay. And it's about remembering friends from the past and not letting them be forgotten. Despite its strong association with New Year's Eve, Auld Lang Syne, written by Robert Burns in the 1700s, was never intended to be a holiday song. And the listener's going, who won? Well, I'm not telling you yet. Okay, number 2. When was the first New Year's celebration established? Any guesses?
Well, I remember what I guessed at first.
What'd you say, New Year's Eve or something like that? The winner didn't get this one, but it's a celebration of the New Year on January 1st is a relatively new phenomenon. The earliest recording of a New Year celebration is believed to have been in Mesopotamia in 2000 BC.
Wow.
And was celebrated around the time of the vernal equinox in mid-March. A variety of other dates tied to the season were also used by various ancient cultures. The Egyptians, the Persians began their new year with the fall equinox, and the Greeks celebrated it on the winter solstice. So Mesopotamia in 2000 BC. All right. Number 3, who took over for Dick Clark for the New Year's celebration in Times Square?
I don't know.
I don't either.
You guys don't do your homework. All right. So Dick Clark hosted New Year's Rockin' Eve annually from 1974 through 2004, after having Regis Philbin served as the guest host for 2005. Some of you guessed Ryan Seacrest, and you would have been correct, sort of, but the first person to take over was Regis. And then Ryan Seacrest stepped in and is today. So she guessed Ryan Seacrest. We gave it to her because he's the current guy. And so that person is Janice C. from Springfield, Missouri. So Janice, you received the CD, Learning to Live Again, Just Ray. And we're going to be sending that to you in the mail. And you're going to hear one of the songs from that CD today. So congratulations.
Wow.
There you go. Da, 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 da. And then next week we'll just have regular trivia. We won't have a contest.
The contest was fun though.
Yeah.
Missouri's a long ways away from Oregon.
Springfield, Missouri.
Nice.
Do they have any flooding going on there?
In Springfield? I don't know.
I know. Well, how close is it to St. Louis?
I don't know. Janice, how close is it to St. Louis?
You don't do your homework.
I don't know.
I love you, Bruce.
Well, brother, I have been to Springfield because I was thinking about going to the Assemblies of God Bible College at one time, and we went out and visited in Springfield, Missouri. That's where their headquarters are. And I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember who it was. Was it Jack? I think it might have been Jack. Mr. Jack Daniels got in the way.
Oh.
Yes, indeed. All right, that does it for this week's trivia. All right, we'll be back right after this.
Hey, look! Running around in the meetings, gobbling up gallons of bad coffee, flapping his gums wherever he can bring a smile to a hurting face. It's Slogan Man! We know cute little platitudes and sayings on the wall in 12-step meeting won't keep you sober, but they sure will make you think, consider, and even laugh your way through an otherwise crappy day. Can't wait to get to your home group to hear those slogans over and over and over and over again? No need to. Pick up a copy of the 12-Step Gazette and join the adventures of Slogan Man. Visit www.12stepgazette.com and subscribe today. Slogans and platitudes are no substitute for working the steps, but Slogan Man is very cool.
Serene Scene magazine is published for individuals who are seeking knowledge, support, and hope. Addiction is a systemic problem, and the content of Serene Scene reflects the complexity of putting addiction into remission, with special attention given to the loved ones of the addict. And now, here's Andrew Martin, Editor-in-Chief for Serene Scene.
I'm Andrew Martin, creator of Serene Scene magazine. The whole purpose of Serene Scene magazine is to help people help themselves to a long-term quality lifestyle of recovery. Please have a look at some of the technological features that it has, the audio files and the video files that are incorporated into the publication as well. I hope you have fun with it, and I hope there's something there for you.
Serene Scene, a magazine for long-term healthy lifestyles of recovery. Visit www.serenescenemagazine.com and subscribe today.
Bum, 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 bum. Little disco bumper music there. Well, welcome back to the show. You've tuned into us here at take12radio.com on your internet dial. Our email address is take12radio@comcast.net. You can listen to the show in a variety of ways. Just visit us on our website, and there's just a whole bunch of different ways you can do it. You can subscribe on iTunes. You can go to Podomatic. If you join Podomatic, you can comment on the shows. And you can put us on a playlist. You can do all sorts of goodies. Download it to your smart device. We have an app there on Podomatic. Or you can just listen online. Or you can go to our YouTube archives page. All from take12radio.com. All right. So, Step one. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, or fill in the blank. That our lives had become unmanageable. Before Stephanie reads this piece, may I just say that the treatment for alcoholism, or the treatment for whatever 12-step fellowship that you're attending, is not going to meetings. That's not the treatment for it. If you have cancer, the treatment for cancer is not sitting in the waiting room talking about your cancer with each other. You have to go in and see the doctor. You have to follow the directions, follow the plan that's lined out. That is the treatment for your cancer. Some of you, like some of us in the past, have fallen into believing the lie that the treatment for your addictions is sitting in these 12-step support meetings talking about your stuff. That's great. That's fun. That's comforting. That's encouraging, you can identify, but that's not the treatment. And I'm just very adamant about that. If you think it is, and you're staying sober, you're probably not an alcoholic. You're probably a heavy drinker. If you're staying clean just by going to meetings, you're probably not a drug addict. You're probably a drug abuser, and there's a big difference. So having said that, I'm going to make a big assumption, and we shouldn't do that, but I'm going to make a big assumption that many of you who are listening are the real deal, that you are people that have struggled with being able to stay clean and or sober, or however you want to use the semantics. And maybe some of you have been wondering, how do I do that? What do I do? Well, there is an outline for this. And we're starting off this week with step one. So, Stephanie, I'm going to have you read. This is from step 1, page 1 of the chapter, step 1 in the 12 and 12, 12 steps and 12 traditions. So go ahead.
Okay. As Monty said, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Who cares to admit complete defeat? Practically no one. Practically no one, of course. Every natural instinct cries out against the idea of personal powerlessness. It is truly awful to admit that, glass in hand, we have warped our minds into such an obsession for destructive drinking that only an act of providence can remove it from us. No other kind of bankruptcy is like this one. Alcohol now became the rapacious creditor, bleeds us of all self-sufficiency and all will to resist its demands. Once this stark fact is accepted, our bankruptcy as going human concerns is complete. But upon entering AA, we soon take quite another view of this absolute humiliation. We perceive that only through utter defeat are we able to take our first steps toward liberation and strength. Our admissions of personal powerlessness finally turn out to be firm bedrock upon which happy and purposeful lives may be built. We know that little good can come to any alcoholic who joins AA unless he has first accepted his devastating weakness and all its consequences, until he so humbles himself. His sobriety, if any, will be precarious. Of real happiness he will find none at all. Proved beyond doubt by an immense experience, this is one of the facts of AA life. Whoa. Thank you.
I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my mixing board. Something's wrong. Okay, I'm sitting here and I'm underlining statements like, this stark fact is, and once the stark fact is accepted, then another one, through utter defeat. Another one, our admissions of personal powerlessness. Another one, accepted his devastating weakness. Another one, so humbles himself.
Yeah. How about the obsession? His obsession, for destructive drinking, that only an act of providence can remove it from us. See, it's pretty.
But that act of providence isn't going to remove it. I mean, why would you? You talk about this all the time, Bruce. If we don't see our powerlessness, why would we seek a power?
That's right. See, so this is about fully conceived. So let me say something about step one before we even start.
Sure.
And this is just an opinion of mine, but I think if you approach it on this level, that you'll see that there's something to be gained from it.
Mm-hmm.
From the very front cover of the Alcoholics Anonymous book to page 44 is step one.
Mm.
Not page 44 itself, but up to it.
Up to it.
That includes the forewords, the doctor's opinion, Bill's story. There is a solution, more about alcoholism. All of those are guidelines and things to open up the door for you to see what alcoholism is all about.
Yeah.
And it talks about drunk and sober. Okay.
Right.
And then on page 44, they have one paragraph that summarizes all those other pages. And you only have to answer two questions. It says, when you can't stop entirely,
mm-hmm.
That's the first question.
Right.
Or when, that shows you there's two things they're asking you, or when drinking, you have little or no control over it.
Right.
So when you're sober and when you're drinking.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that places you in a very precarious situation. You have an illness that demands that you continue drinking, and then you have an obsession that tells you could do that.
Yeah, despite the consequences.
Yeah, that when you're sober, that almost demands that you do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Stephanie.
He's absolutely right. It's amazing because, sometimes to understand a principle,
mm-hmm.
I look at the anonym, which means a word that would be the opposite of it. Because when I just look at the word powerlessness,
right.
What am I seeing in my past? It was like the opposite of powerlessness is thinking I had control or trying to control the situation, just like the book says. I played with that a lot, over and over and over, and not just with alcohol, but with everything to distract me from myself and my own growth until I found the 12 steps. I've been growing, which is awesome. But anyway, I loved what he said.
Yeah.
It's the whole point is when you look at the opposite, then that's what this is. For me also, being new at working the program, I didn't know how this looked, until I'm in with a bunch of other people watching their experiences play out. And I'm like, whoa, that's me. Yep. And that's how they dealt with it. And yes, that's what it means to give up control and to have a power greater than myself. Because for me, it always feels harder because it's me.
Yeah.
Love
So
it.
that's one of the benefits of going to the 12-step support meetings.
Yeah.
Is to see that so you will seek treatment. That may not be the treatment, but that helps you to seek the treatment because you're seeing what's going on with other people and and how it's playing out and so forth. Bruce, you made an interesting declaration here. When you said step 1 is up to page 44, I will bet that most people have never heard that before. And yet, how many people, and let's just be honest, how many of us have picked up a book, whether it's a book we study or just a book for an enjoyment, and we skip the preface and we skip the introduction, we go right to chapter 1, right? I mean, I've done that. That's fine and good, but I want to get into the story, right? So I'll start with chapter 1. That's fine if you're reading a Harlequin romance or something, but when you're talking about a design for living that very possibly, if you're the real deal, is going to save your life, maybe you ought to start at page 1.
And what happens if you don't understand step 1? If you don't believe,
right?
If you don't have any information, but if you read that and you look at it from your point of view, like she's talking about, and see that, yes, me too.
Right.
See, that's what that's designed to do, to look at that, for you'll see if you're one. And then you can start to make a decision from that point. If I really, watch this, this is the way I understood it for myself. It wasn't until I understood my own powerlessness that I was willing to seek a power.
Right.
Because I believed in me. I was raised that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the minute that I seen that and seen my need, then I started to pursue it. And what I did was made a decision at that point because I knew I was going to use again. That's the bottom line of powerlessness. I don't care how you look at it.
You betcha.
If you're powerless, like it says on page 44, then that's going to happen. We don't just don't know when. Anyway, I understood that, and I pursued the power. And what I did is I gave these 12 steps a chance. Because there were some spots in the book that I knew where it said I could start from right at that point. So I came to believe. Well, I believed. But my beliefs were skewed and bad.
Right.
And then, but I could piecemeal that. I didn't have to accept that the way I did step 1. See? And then I could go to 3. And where people make their big mistake with 3, we'll talk about that, we'll get there, is part of the decision in 3 is to do the rest of the steps.
Yes.
Yep.
My
And yet so
goodness.
many people stop at step 4.
Yeah.
They start writing down their first sentence and then they just
If you're
don't do
not
it.
if you're not doing 4, then you haven't made the decision.
That's true.
Okay?
That's right. Yeah.
And they say I've done 1, 2, and 3.
Well, no, you haven't.
No,
Because otherwise you'd be doing 4.
that's right. So one other little tidbit, and then I'll just try to jump in where
Yeah.
I can and tell you how I feel about some of this stuff and what step 1 means to me. It's when you're reading the 12 by 12, if you approach it as though this is what it looks like in your life.
Right.
These are not the instructions.
That's right.
But if you approach that 12 by 12 as when you're reading the steps, this is what it looks like. See, and if some form of that or like that.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Right.
It's going to be a whole lot better for you, and you're going to understand a whole lot more. It's just like, give it a shot.
Yeah.
Look at it that way.
Yeah.
And another thing, guys, understand the doctor's opinion for step one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Really see what the doctor is saying, about they even agreed about this power that their synthetic methods didn't make it,
Yeah. I absolutely love this. I mean, this is key. And a while back we did one on willingness. Well, again, when I came in, I felt like I had tried everything to get better, and I was not getting better, and I did a lot of substitution. And yes, I had periods of dry time, not recovery time. And it's like traveling. You can pick an airplane, you can pick a jet, you can pick a boat, you can walk. So when I was doing it by myself, I was walking. Okay? I don't know how to fly a jet, but someone did in that program, and they got me on there, and I am to happiness, freedom, health, the whole works. I'm getting the promises, and I'm grateful. Freedom is huge, because I was trapped in my head, and that was not freeing. No. A prison of my own creation. What do you know? But anyway, so I guess in saying that again is, I did exactly what Bruce said. Again, I'm like, what the heck? I don't see how this is going to work. I don't know how to fly this jet. But I'm willing to trust this person does. I don't know them, but I'm willing, because they were here on the ground once and went through a course, I imagine. Yeah. So I did. And I want to say I could have chose to walk. It would have taken me longer. I probably would have never made it there. I still would have remained unhappy. I could have chose to drive, and I would have got there, but it's like doing anything halfway. You get what you put into it. So if I put a little bit in it and I'm doing my own self, but if I have the team effort, and I just heard this today, it's like synergy. You can pick up more weight together than you can even dividing the weight between you, which is a beautiful thing to say. And to get there even faster, then that's all my effort and all my trust and giving up and letting someone else fly this plane.
Your step one is kind of
huge.
A really weird deal. You know why most people hate God when they come in?
They got the wrong God.
Yeah. They don't see no need for it.
They don't see a need for him, right?
They just don't see a need for it.
Self-sufficiency.
Yeah. I mean, that's why they hate him. People don't know what people talk about him. What do I need God for?
It's insulting.
You're insulting me. You see? That's this self-centered attitude that we have. See, that's who we are. That's that brokenness about us. That's what we have to keep care of. Okay? So when people start to see their need, when they understand their powerlessness, and they have another individual that says, hey, I did these 12 steps, and it opened the door for me to have a relationship with my Creator.
Yeah.
Then they might try that. Why? Because step one's behind them, pushing them, and all the pain that come with it. All those times, that lonely, that the addiction, the sickness, the wondering where we was going to get the money today, swallowing our own vomit because we didn't want to lose any of the alcohol. These kind of things that we done, the stink that come off of us. That we didn't seem to be able to get rid of. All of this stuff is behind us, pushing us, and we become willing as only the dying can. See, and so, of course I was willing to do the rest of the steps, but I had to have something to drive me. Bob had the solution, but he couldn't pursue it with the willingness that was necessary till he understood the problem.
Yeah, and there it is.
Good.
There it is right there. And we're running around in our secular 12-step meetings, understanding the problem but not the solution. And in our faith-based meetings, we're understanding the solution but not the problem. And we can't get on the same page because we want to argue semantics.
You need both.
You need both. You absolutely do.
See,
Yeah.
If I have a solution and I have no problem, what good's it going to do me?
Right.
If I have a problem and no solution to apply it to, what good does it do me?
Yeah, nothing.
Yes.
Let me say this again about step one. Now, you guys know that I'm a firm believer in you don't take millions of years to work the first formal working of these steps. It can be done rather quickly. We don't know that a person has another day to even live. So, and Bruce talks about, 90 meetings in 90 days. What gives us the right to even think the poor sap's got 90 days? We need to get on this. This is urgent. This is life and death. So once we've established if a person is truly an addict, if a person is truly an alcoholic, then we need to be about the work of doing this with the person we're working with. And having said that, I will tell you that sometimes people will do things too quickly. Understanding step one is not going, A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. Therefore, you've done step one. That is not doing step one.
No.
But a lot of people will do that. They will say, okay.
They'll say you've done step one if you've come through the doors and said you're an alcoholic.
Right. And then B, that probably no human power could relieve our alcoholism. Do you understand that? Yes. Okay, you're done with step two. Step three, that God could and would if he were sought. Do you understand that? Yes, you've done step three. No. You haven't even scratched the surface. That's moving way too quickly, and that's skipping over a whole bunch of. I agree with Bruce. Understanding step one is absolutely essential. We talk about it's the only one you have to do perfectly. You've got to understand powerlessness.
It says
you're not going to unless you read 1 through 44.
Yeah, it says to concede to your innermost self.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Concede.
Yeah. Turn to the last page of more about alcoholism, page 43.
I got a vision for you on that powerless thing too. When you're ready.
Okay. You see, that's the last page. Go to the very last thing it says.
Once more,
the
alcoholic at certain times has no effective mental defense against the first drink, except in a few rare cases, neither he nor any other human being can provide such defense. His defense must come from a higher power.
Now, it says once more. So he's already said this before in this same chapter. And then you got there is a solution where they talk about, the person's drinking. Then you got Bill's whole story where it's an overview. Then you got the doctor's opinion where it talks about they couldn't do anything, but you might be interested in this plan that's in this book, that they seem to have a solution. Then you have the forewords that tell you what it's all about and gives you these little clips about Bob and why he couldn't do that. Why he couldn't do it when he had that solution. You see?
Right.
So all of those things, and you start putting those together with a little guidance from somebody that studied the book, and it comes together, you say, oh, my God. Because what you do is you look over this shoulder at this smoky room we call the past and see if it applies to you. If when you're drinking, did you have little or no control? And when you were sober, could you stay that way? And if that be the case, see, that'll move you forward to seeking this power because you realize by looking at your own past that you don't have it. You see,
and
you're
either
going to
does
start seeing what she sees.
Right.
She sees all of this nonsense that she was doing to control it. She's using the words that the book was using. And I don't even know how far she's been into the book. But she's using those terms because that's what we do.
Isn't it interesting?
It is.
Because I've had people say, Mike, I just, how do you have this peace in the midst of having no money, having this, your car breaks down, your kid's doing this, blah, blah. How do you have this peace? I said, well, this is what I've done through the power of the one who can do for me what I can't do for myself. Now that's offered freely to you too. Well, no, it's not really for me. Then why are you saying you want what I have?
Watch this. My life is terrible. It sucks.
What?
It really, really does. Okay.
Yeah, listen to what he's saying, though.
Yeah, it does. If it wasn't for my faith, I don't believe that I could get through it.
Amen.
My faith in my God, in Jesus Christ, and what he's accomplished for me is what I look forward to. That's the
Right.
unseen, the coming of my God. Say,
And if you didn't have that hope,
if I didn't have that hope,
Right.
If I didn't live in by that, in faith, in that, then I don't believe that I could manage or live the kind of life that I live today. I don't think I could be the kind of man that I am today. I don't think that I would care about people the way I do today. You
Right.
see, but it comes from that hope. See,
and that comes from a deep understanding of what powerlessness is.
that's right.
But again, we're back to that thing. You know, like I struggled because finding a power greater than myself was hard. And also, if you think about this with words, there are many people, believe it or not, on this planet named Jesus, okay? And I do believe in Jesus, the God of love. And the way I got there, again, it was because I thought to myself, I know myself, and my experience is that I love my children more than I love my own life and my own self.
Sure.
And the thought that, you know, I hate it when I get cry, but it's just so intense. The thought that God would give up his son, which would be like me giving up my daughter, my granddaughter, or anything like that, for someone like me who was a practicing retard. I'm just kidding.
While we were enemies.
A horrible person who was
even-
not nice to people, was not acting in love.
Right.
I didn't even like my children.
Oh,
And God did that for me.
Yeah.
Gave his son for me.
So
But now I love my children.
Let me give a little common sense anesthesia to the listeners that are freaking out right now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Let me just say, because there are some that are going, the God thing. Okay. Let me just tell you, and this is just my belief. I really believe this. I believe if you take this book, and I'm talking about the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, I believe if you open up this thing and you go at this thing without an agenda other than you're willing to be open-minded, okay, and you research this and you do it and you apply and you implement and you work with somebody who has had a spiritual awakening as a result of doing this work, not somebody who's on step 3 and you're on step 1, or somebody that's on step 6 and you're on step 5. I'm talking about somebody who has done this experience, has a walking personal relationship with the Creator. I believe that something will happen. I think you'll come to a crossroads. And if you're all worried about, I don't know about this God thing, let your heart not be troubled. If you will approach this thing with an open heart and a willingness, I believe that the truth will be made known to you, and you will come to a place where you will be faced with a decision. It'll be yours. It has to be yours. But you're going to come to a place where you're going to have to make a decision, which direction you're going to go. I don't think a person can open this book and really, really read it honestly and walk away not changed in some way. Either you're going to run from God or you're going to run to God. That's just been my experience with it.
There you go. Yeah, I'd like to say something about this step work and about people's different beliefs.
Yeah.
Okay, there's people that come in and they're theologically know what's happening, like Monty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I came in with that, yeah.
Yeah, with that knowledge. Then there's people like me that their beliefs are all skewed about God. You know what I mean? And they come from the pulpit, and they come from my mother, and they come from my sister, and they come from my gangster friends. Yeah. Okay?
Got it, yeah.
So I got this skewed belief. Then there's you that have a belief. You know what I mean? And it's one that you can't grasp, but you have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't know anything about how to get it. Well, let me tell you something about these steps. These steps will teach you how to walk with God. Yep. They'll teach you how to trust God.
Mm-hmm.
They'll teach you how to set your beliefs aside that you have about God and pick up a new set of principles and try to make use of those. You know what I mean? That's what an open mind is to use ideas other than your own and make use of them. You know what I mean? To be open to ideas other than your own and make use of them. So the steps will do all of that, and they're the same steps. You see what I mean? They work for him, they work for me, and they work for you. But what people want to do is slide around them and not complete them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To stop halfway through. And that's not what this thing's about.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Right.
And it's the most wonderful thing that's ever taken place in my life. And I'm telling you something. God doesn't need help.
Yeah. For sure.
See, we don't have to add, to what he's already done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a method by which to look at yourself where you can go to him with a different attitude. That's what it basically is, to humble us. Because we're so prideful.
Right.
See?
Right.
So when we go, and I don't think God refuses a contrite heart.
I don't think he does either.
You see?
Regardless of our limited understanding.
And I believe these steps or principles that came from the Bible.
Oh, it definitely did.
Okay.
Even our Jewish brothers in the program, even people that are agnostic in the program that really know this literature, they can't deny that. They say that. They say, we know this came from a Judeo-Christian perspective. They know that.
Yeah.
Even if they don't necessarily agree with that, they know historically where it came from.
You know, every single person that I work with, I have them do the steps around God and the church. I don't care if they love God and they're a good church member.
Yeah, it says that's a good idea. That's good. Well, we have and we kind of seeped into. It's hard not to talk about spiritual principles and God and so forth, even with just step one. I mean, because we're talking about powerlessness. We're talking about living without a power. So we're going to be talking about living with a power.
If we're powerless and we don't have a power, what's going to happen to us? We're going to be floating around like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
Right, but if you come into a meeting like I did and your cup is shattered, even if you want to pour a cup of, you want to pour the love energy in it, it's not going to hold anything. I'm saying that I appreciate where everybody's at, and I'm excited about where I'm at too. I'm still evolving and things are changing.
Right. Now, you see, and we're out of time, but I will say, when I walked into the rooms, right, if I had heard that I wasn't supposed to talk about God or I couldn't be specific about my God, I would have left. I needed a fellowship of people that were bold enough to say, you need God and you need him now. I needed that in my life so much. And because I was in circles where people just mamby-pamby patted me on the butt and it wasn't getting me anywhere. So I came from a different kind of thing. And the first meeting I went to, See, that's where God knows us. He knew what I needed. He knew what you needed.
The opposite.
Right. But we cannot make the assumption that everybody that walks in the door is foul-mouthed. We can't make the assumption that everybody walks in the door is pure of heart. We can't make the assumption everybody walks in the door hates God or everybody loves God. The only assumption we can make is that we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, to sit in a 12-step meeting and bash treatment centers, to sit in a 12-step meeting and bash the church, to sit in a 12-step meeting and bash atheists, or people that are gay, or people that are like in an AA meeting and bash people that use narcotics or whatever, that's just totally inappropriate. It doesn't benefit anybody.
It's not love.
It's not love. No, it's insanity. Well, this song we're going to close out with by Ray White. RecoveryRecords.net is the website. This song is from the title of the CD, Learning to Live Again. And this kind of gives you an introduction of how Ray felt when he first came into the rooms. So check this out, and then we'll sign off for this week. Next week, we're going to be talking about step 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. That's step 2. This Friday, don't forget this Friday, William Borchert, the screenwriter and author of My Name is Bill W., also When Love's Landed Up, the Lois Wilson story, also Serpico, Dog Day Afternoon, Bay City Rollers, and many more. He will be my guest. This is the 3rd time he's been on the show, talking about his new book, How I Became My Father, a Trunk. William will be with us as well. So here is Ray White with his song, Learning to Live Again.
My name is Ray. It's 3 weeks today since I had my last drink. Live and let live, let go and let God. Before you give in, stop and think. Everyone tells me it's gonna get better. If only they'd tell me when. A day at a time, I'm learning to live again. I had a good wife, a wonderful life, but the bottle took it away. Now here I stand, a piece of a man, searching for something to say. And everyone tells me easy does it, but what do I do till then? A day at a time, I'm learning to live again. Learning to open up my heart and say what I feel inside. Learning to laugh at the little things, never forgetting I've cried. That's all I got, so thanks a lot for giving me a chance to share. It's sure good to know there's a place I can go where the people really do care. And everyone tells me just keep coming back and try to hang on till then. A day at a time, I'm learning to live again. A day at a time, I'm learning to live again.
All right, thanks, everybody. Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, Bruce. Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man along with the gang. Remember, next week, step 2, we're wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye now.
This has been a broadcast of Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Kitty, 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 kitty.